Uh, Let me say, I started my career. I've been opportune to work across three banks in the 12, 13 years of my career. And actually started, funny enough, I studied computer science and mathematics. But I started my first job in the bank as a teller. And this I did for like I think 18 months or 2 years. But while at that, I was, that's why I envy today's undergraduates. Some of the opportunity they had, we actually didn't have it. So that period where I was a teller, I also had friends who were working for some tech companies and maybe IT companies, the big fours and all that. So we always interact, and I see some of the certifications, training that they do. So as a teller, I was doing them because these were my classmates. Yeah. So if they could do this, I believe I could do that. I could do the same thing, even though I was a teller in a bank. So somehow an opportunity came up, yeah, in the bank for an information security, information system control role. And that was how I pivoted, yeah. And this actually laid the foundation for me to understand the importance of securing IT and digital channels within the banking industry. So my first role, that was the first organization I worked for, and I now moved to, let me say, the audit group in another top bank, that's UBA, as an IT auditor. Yeah, there I also built skills around cyber security, IT risk management, forensic investigation, and all that. And this also laid a foundation for me to pivot into my current role, which is cyber security in First Bank. Yeah. So I didn't join First Bank as the head of or as a team lead. Yeah, I also started my career in the SOC, in the Security Operations Center. Yeah, from there, forensic investigation, threat intelligence, till I now lead a dynamic team of security analysts, where our job is to oversee the security measures around application infrastructure across the First Bank Group. So in a nutshell, I was opportune to study computer science in the university, but coming out, I did not get the opportunity to do what I studied, but it did not deter me. Yeah, I personally improved, learned skills that would help me achieve my goal. And that's what I think Cyber is trying to help shorten this cycle, because if I tell you how it was difficult for me as a teller trying to study for security certifications that you're not even hands-on. Yeah. So I think that period of study, personal development actually helped me get to where I am today. Thank you.
I had a very interesting start. So my background is mechanical engineering, and at the time we were in school, just towards the period for CWES, it was very funny that Ajaokuta Steel was sold by the federal government at the time, and at the same time, I stayed in Kaduna for a while, and under my very eye, Peugeot was also sold to Alhaji Sani Daudu, and nothing was done there. It was so funny that I also stayed in Ojo Barracks, where Volkswagen Nigeria was also sold. And as a mechanical engineering undergraduate, it gives me that worry to say, so where do I start from? So fortunately, it became an era. I was very close. I had like 4 roommates who were students of the electronics and computer department at the time in LASU. And I just cried out to the guys, like, see, what do we do? And they were like, see, they were going to have IT with different IT companies if I were able to follow them. So I followed them to the then Resourcery. And we wrote the test, and I was fortunate to have passed. And that was where my journey started. So joined Resourcery as an IT student for the 6 months US. And in between then, we were groomed to write the CCNA, CCNP exams. And somehow I was lucky to understand the technology while we were doing LAN cabling, we were installing infrastructure. I had to dabble into that exam, and I was lucky to have passed those certifications. And then from there, I went back to school, but I was already armed, and I exactly knew how I wanted to move on. While I was going to finish as a mechanical engineer, it was clear to me that I was going to end up in the IT industry. So I came out from school. Resourcery was happy to absorb me then as an IT engineer, and from there I continued to develop. So it was from one certification to the other. While other people had it already from their background as undergraduate, I had to struggle through it through different certifications. And if not for that opportunity during CWES that created that hands-on experience, and we started to grow it. And from there, I had the opportunity to join IBM, but I dabbled more into the infrastructure area and not the security part of it. Spent a few time in IBM as a server operation engineer, and then end up moving into the data center field within Huawei, where I started writing certifications to design, build, and project manage data centers. And that's where I find myself and continue to grow before I moved finally to the UK. In a nutshell and in summary, what I would like to add and to see what Think Cyber is doing is to bridge the gap. And that gap is, while we struggled and didn't have that direction from our universities in those days, the students today have that opportunity to say it quickly, get that practical know-how quickly, get certified as early as possible, lay that foundation for them, and in line with the need of the industry, as soon as they are out of school, then they are ripe and ready to be able to pick up roles that are already out there and begging for people to deliver. And that's what I see, that the opportunity that we probably did not have to build our careers, and how we've struggled through it to get to where we are. The journey will be shorter with what the group and the university is coming together to do, and that will be a summary from my own part. Thank you.
I think first I'll start with. I think for me, I started with training and certification. Yeah, at that point where I was a teller, I knew this is not what I want to do in the long run. Yeah, and how do I get the skill that I need for the job I want to do in the long run? I needed to study. I needed to attend trainings. Yeah, so one of the key things that helped me that period was writing certifications. Yeah, and it actually is the core of my professional growth. And aside that, I also had mentors and friends who also were there to direct me. So when you have mentors, people that you are looking up to, they've already achieved something that you're looking up to. Those are people that I reach out to. If after I write any certification, I meet them. I tell them, I've written this certification. What next should I do? Which one should I go again? Which one can I leverage on? You understand? And I also had friends who are already doing this job, so they also helped help guide me, so that I don't just find it so difficult doing this on my own. So training, certifications, mentors, then also while on the job, I think after my first organization, the other organizations were multinational banks that have branches across the world. So multinational exposure also helped, because when you now start working with people in other region, other geography, you kind of now appreciate the culture, the compliance and standard required for the role that you occupy. How they understand, you now understand diverse security challenges that they have within these regions. It also helps you build skills around the role you currently occupy. So multinational exposure also helped me, because most of the time I have to travel to all those regions, work with some of the people, and we also share some technical knowledge among ourselves. What else? I think those are the three core that I can remember now. And also attending conferences and also facilitating some of those sessions, because when you do this, in this industry, I'm speaking of cybersecurity now. It's a very diverse industry. There's several domains in cybersecurity, and you cannot be a subject matter expert on each of those domains. So when you attend conferences, seminars, webinars, you're able to meet people that are subject matter experts in their own field, and able to share, build your network, and also whenever you have issues within your organization, you also have people that you can reach out to. So those are some of the factors that help me build my technical exposure and also professional growth. Thank you.
Honestly, it cannot be different from what Mr. Obiora just said, to be honest. And it really just be like we trade. For me, so first it was the awareness that I was in an industry. I was studying within a place that was not an alive industry in the environment where we found ourselves, and that realization gave birth to the need to seek knowledge. And seeking knowledge only meant that you were probably going to talk to people in the area you were going to go, and then get certified to get opportunity to practice. So certification was key, and that direction. You need mentors. You also need to humble yourself to be able to learn from your peers. Excuse me. If they are better than you are, then you just need to learn from them. So first for me was to get certified. And how else was I going to get certified? Was to study along the path that I was going, which was new, which was IT. And then, sorry, excuse me. And because those certifications are global certifications, there was no other way than to get trained and then write those exams and prove yourself. And then after the certifications come in, then I moved into pure hands-on on the job training, which was proving to. And sometimes I realized that I had to go the route. We had to come together as friends then to buy some scrap switches at the time that we were using to practice for our continuous development. And when we were going to write our exams.
So sorry, please. Can you just repeat that again? You had to buy some scrap switches.
Yes, we had to,
so that you can master configuration.
Exactly, we had to practice our configurations at the time, and while we were doing it on live, we created our own live network where we were always going into to dismantle and come back on, and that was key for us. And when we got to the industry, it was almost like we were simulating those problems that you have created. And this wouldn't have happened without very good mentors, because we had people who were in the industry who had problems, who we were following, and we were able to see how they were resolving their problem. We were learning from them. And then from there, again, we started looking at what next. It was always a case of what next. You always notice that the moment you were at one point, IT was so dynamic. A few changes had come, a few refresh had come, a few equipment had changed. If you look at the Cisco lab as at the time, we had the 2100, and before we knew what happened, we started having the labs of 2100 with different configurations. So we had the APs, and the labs came out. And for heaven's sake, I had a project in Notori. We couldn't even move forward. So we needed to create another group. We were talking to some people. I remember a CCI at the time, Hilda Brown. He was Cameroonian, but was in the US. We remember some few guys who were in Bulgaria. We had some people who were in India. So when we were supposed to sleep, the time in India was far ahead. The time in Australia was far behind. So you had to be up, meet up with these industry experts, learn from them, humble yourself, and then come back to do those implementations. So it was a very interesting time for me. And looking back, it spurs you more to write more exams, prove that you know these things, and go back to the field to monitor, to implement, and then speak constantly with industry leaders at the time to direct your path. And they were able to say, you know what, this will be the next line of action for you. And this were going to be the kind of career path that opportunities that will be coming for you to take on and to prove yourself. And it was only by God's grace, it was only just obvious how we were going to navigate it at the time. So yes, for me, so it was certification, it was mentors, it was industry knowledge of the need of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to go about it. And it was then now implementing it to be where we intended to be today, and God made that happen as well.
Okay.